Okay, so this is just going to be like a preliminary video about what's going on, because it requires a lot of case study, and what it will require is me taking screenshots of the bubbles. And whereas I've been quite lazy, I've not been doing it. We should probably try and automate this, probably make it a lot easier. So what I think would have happened, we had the cell on NU, and it did quite well. And so in version 1, it's important to note is that we would have bought up there. Right now 2.1, this new version of the robot has sold it. And so what we do, it looks like we're doing the same as the herd, but we're not, because what's happened is that the bubbles, right, so what's happened to the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar, right, see, it was over here, was past tense, it moving across this way, it's going to make it a sell. Okay, so that's the 2.1 logic in a nutshell, without any too much complication, is that the Kiwi bubble was over here, and now it's going to probably gravitate over here, and by that movement, as we go across, we're going to be a strong sell, and then this is going to fall. And then when at the FX close every night, they all get reset. This is actually an error. We need to be doing daily. Sorry about that. If you want to help test, it has to be daily, because these are the bubbles. Right, so the New Zealand dollar was, I assume, over here, and it moving across is going to make it a sell, right? And so we have like a reversal scenario in phases. So by 2 o'clock in the morning UK time, you know, it's here, for example. 4 o'clock is here, 6 o'clock, and then we're going to hit like lots of stops. And I think we see a reversal from the take profit. So what happened over here, you know, 2 a.m, 4 a.m, 6 a.m, it hits like some stops, and then what happens is that these New Zealand dollar shorts are taking profit. These retail traders are taking profit, and you can see in the profit ratio is that we saw a confluence there. So it could be that they took some profit early on their shorts, which it kind of makes sense. You know, if they're short the New Zealand dollar, we should be coming up, which that makes sense. They took profit, and then of course by taking profit we see a movement on the New Zealand dollar, and it's going to come across, and then by moving across it's making it a sell. So this movement here is the buy, so this is that movement, and then once they get out at profit, which is that, I assume, then that New Zealand dollar bubble is going to move. And that's it, I think, in a nutshell. Dollar CAD's another good one to do, so we can show you dollar CAD. So that was a good timing. So it's almost as though you know, it anticipates the reversal. It looks like we're going with the herd when the signal triggers, but it doesn't, because it's anticipating that they're going to get stopped out or take profit, which is what we saw in the profit ratio for New Zealand dollar USD. So in version 1 of the robot, we would have sold this, but you can see the reaction there. And so I think if that loaded, that would be really good, but clearly it's not going to load, and you could probably see they're taking some profits there on the dollar CAD. Right, and obviously the signal would have triggered from whatever's the most extreme. So CAD would have been over here, and the dollar would have been over here. So you can see how the bubbles are converging. So if the CAD comes over, it's going to weaken, and that means that the dollar CAD's going to strengthen. So the CAD was over here, which it must be for the signal to trigger. It's moved away from the extreme. They're taking profit, and that CAD bubble is going to gravitate across. So I think it is to do with the take profit. So that's really annoying about this. I'm going to be really honest. There we go. God, that was slow. And need the data for this as well. So that's it. So I think I pretty much explained it. There's them taking profit potentially, which kind of coincides with you know, where the CAD bubble was. So the important thing to note is that whenever a bubble signal triggers, it's because something's extreme. So we can see the dollar CAD would have been, it would have indicated that the CAD was over here, it was extreme, and the dollar was, you know, the most extended that side, and that was the most extreme. So so it tells us, it's indicating that what's happened is that they took profits, and so we saw a movement, and they took profits on dollar CAD. But I won't talk about how the bubbles are created, because that's putting a layer of difficulty on top, but it might be an important caveat for understanding why you know, some things are slightly not aligning so much, because it might not be to do with them taking profit, it might be to do with the creation of the bubbles. So we have to remember bubbles are made up of they're like constituent parts. So, you know, we've got the Aussie against all its peers, the CAD against all its peers, the Swiss franc against all its peers, the euro, the pound, Kiwi, yen, dollar, right? And we're getting all this synthetic information from that, you know, that data. And so yeah, I guess that's probably a video for another time. Is the creation of those of the signals. They are sort of created differently, and this is going to be hunted down by the wolves, because everybody trades the dollar CAD, and the reason for trading the dollar CAD is, you know, sentiment. But if we're looking at the sentiment from a different angle, at a higher level, it might mean we might be okay to go with the herd, because what will happen is that they take profit too early, and then we see the movement on the bubbles, and then therefore we'll then do the opposite of the herd. So initially we'll go with them, they'll take profit too early, and then we'll hold on until, you know, until we've made up TP or SL. So that's possibly what's the situation here. So by we get some signals tomorrow, it will then simply tell us that what's most extreme, and then we can just check your chart, and it will require me probably having to sit here, take screenshots, and then compare, and then you know, that's how we go. So I think it's possibly what's happened is that the bubble had deviated a lot. They took profit. By taking profit, it's actually shifted the bubble more than I ever thought would happen. I thought this would be a stop loss zone, but it could actually be TP zone, right? And so that's of note, and that's just a quick one there. So you could talk about it for ages, but we'll keep it fairly short. And yeah, and just do collating data tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. I think it would probably be better to give it a few days as opposed to rushing out a video on Thursday before we got lots of data that we can like look at in order for that video. And it'd probably be a long video as well, because we have to talk about the synthesis, and everyone should understand that if we get a dollar CAD, it's not necessarily the dollar CAD, it's the dollar bubble versus the CAD bubble, and that's got all, you know, all its crosses in that. It's got all its crosses in that. So that's just a quick preliminary video for the big video that will be released probably on the weekend.